Disclaimer, none of my videos in any way signify this is what you have to do, should do, or could really even be a good idea. We just show what we do and how we do it. And if you want to do it our way, that's fine. If you don't, nothing implies that you have to or it's even the right way to do it. So on that, let's hit that intro. So like I mentioned the other day in a video, this is the next project. And I have to pull this apart so that when the new parts come in, I can put the new T-box in and the new drive shaft in. But before we do that, I have another project I have to address first. Okay, let's just dig into this thing. We got to take the covers off and pull the whole gear assembly out. And once I do that, instead of doing it the way I've done it before, where I pull the caps off and drain the boxes out into a drain pan, I'm going to use this here that I showed you. I used on the Toro to change out the hydro fluid. I'm going to use that to suck all the fluid out of the 3 gearboxes. And then I'm going to get it prepped and ready for when the new gearbox and drive shaft come in either tomorrow or Saturday. I'm not sure which day they're coming in, but we need to get this thing prepped and ready to go so that when those new parts come in, I can do what I gotta do. Now to take this off, like I've showed you before, there's a bolt there and there and there and there, and they're 9/16 bolts with a nut on the bottom. So I'll reach underneath and hold it with this wrench and then use the gun to spin it off from this side, and then the whole assembly will pull off. Now I have it clamped in here in the vise so it can't move, it won't go anywhere. I can take off this drive shaft, and what I'm going to do is start draining these boxes. I'll drain these 2 and then I'll roll it so that I can pull the cap off of this side and drain that one as well. Now see, that universal joint in there, it's not like loose and sloppy, but it's definitely seen better days. It clunks back and forth and I think it's pretty shot. Now I've looked and you cannot buy just this on any Walker parts site, but I'm pretty sure that I can buy that universal joint and replace that. So that is eventually what I'll do. But in the meantime, I'm replacing with new. So I'm just going to pull this apart so that this all comes off here, which I don't have to do since I'm replacing all of it. I could just take it off with the T-box and leave it with that, but I'm going to do this anyway because getting this drive shaft out of the way will make my life a heck of a lot easier. So I have this little mini hammer I bought from Harbor Freight. It's perfect for this kind of stuff. So pull that shear pin out of there, and then there's the roll pin that goes through. So I got a punch. Sometimes this thing gets stuck in there. You can see the shear pin or the roll pin coming out. And there's the roll pin, covered in crap that's all over the floor, but that's the roll pin. Very simple. You can buy these anywhere, so if you lose it, don't be too concerned. And then, of course, my punch sometimes gets stuck in there and I can't get it out, but take that out and the drive shaft should come right off. Mine sometimes gets a little stuck, but that shaft in there gets all like beat up and stuck. See, I could take this whole thing, and I don't know if the camera picks it up, but I can move it up and down. And you should have a little bit of play, but I think this one has too much. Let's take a small pry bar, and it comes right off. Now this style here, you can see it has this groove in it right there. As soon as I wipe all the grease out of there I put in there, it has this groove right here, and that's where the roll pin sits into once it goes through the drive shaft. And then there's the hole that the shear pin goes in. I think I said that wrong. The groove is where the roll pin goes in. If I said that wrong, I don't know. But anyway, the hole's where the shear pin goes in. So that's the end that I need. And when I got the cast iron boxes before, it had the different style. It just has a keyway that goes in there. So now this, like I said, I will eventually rebuild all this. I'll put new bearings in there and new gears in there, and I'll have this one rebuilt. I do have brand new gearboxes, aluminum gearboxes for the end that are for sale if anybody wants them. I'll sell them to you really cheap, way cheaper than what you buy them for brand new from a dealer. I've mentioned that before, but I have brand new aluminum boxes. They're both left rotation, and for the 48 GHS deck, the standard rotation, these both have to be left rotation boxes. So I have 2 of those, and like I said, I'll rebuild this one, and that one will be good to go, and I can give you the whole set if that's what you want. I just don't have a spare set of these tubes. So let's get these caps off and start draining these out. That grease, that is black. Now, let me show you why that grease looks so black and so thick like that. A lot of people run 80-90 high pressure. I believe that's exactly what it calls for. What I have in these is this stuff right here. It's called Peerless Transmission Bentonite Grease. And that's what they recommend you put in these. It goes in this yellow mustard looking color, and then after you run them a little bit, it turns black like that and it gets super thick. So I'm gonna get this out of there, and I believe when I put them back together, I'm not gonna run that grease again. I believe I'm going to run just regular grease, the regular 80-90 or straight Lucas, which is what I've always run in the past. I believe that's what I'm gonna put in there. Okay, now I just snug these screws back up. Now that these 2 boxes are drained, I snug those up, and I just use a screwdriver. You don't want to over tighten them because you'll just push that cork gasket right back out. So now I'm going to loosen this up, and I'm going to roll it over so the top cap of this one's facing up, and then I can drain out this one as well. Now, I've learned over the years, you drain these things first, these gearboxes, before you disassemble this, you're much better off. It's a lot less of a mess. You don't have fluid everywhere. With this stuff, it's really not going to run anywhere because it was so thick, but it definitely is a big help to drain these boxes before you disassemble any of them. I've made videos before in the past, and I will make a part 2 to this when those new ones come in. But these are just 7/16 bolts, and you got to be easy because you will strip those out. So I'm just gonna take all 4 of them out of this side, all 4 of them out of this side, pull it apart, take this box out, put the new box in, put new gaskets in there, and put it all back together. Then I'll fill the boxes back up, put the new drive shaft on, and put it back in the deck. But that's gonna make it so much easier in the next day or 2 when those parts come in, that I can go ahead and disassemble this without having fluid all over the place. Okay, so I just pulled the inner shaft off that the drive shaft goes into, and I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this, but I found another problem. Let me see if I can get a light and show you this better. And you see it's kind of shiny in there. See those jagged edges? It's cracked all the way around in there. From that, let's see here, from that ball right there over to that ball. The whole thing is cracked. You flip it all the way around to the other side, and that side is perfectly fine. It's just how it should be. But this whole side is cracked all the way around, like half moon, half of it. Now, I don't know why it would be like that. I'm assuming that's not standard, and it's not supposed to be like that. I can't imagine any reason why that is correct. So I'm guessing that is broken, and that whole spline shaft inside there is broken. So I just ordered another one of those too. I figured I'm replacing all the other stuff. I might as well just replace that too and be done with it. That way when the spring rush hits, this thing will be up running, no issues, no problems, and it'll just be good to go. But yeah, I'm glad I definitely pulled that off and started examining that. And I did look when I was on the website, because I order all my Walker parts from Walker Parts Depot. You guys know that. It's just, when you're running walkers, they're so expensive for parts. It's just so much cheaper to go through them, and I have it shipped right to my house in a few days. I do use my dealer for some stuff, but for a lot of stuff, bigger stuff, more expensive things like this, or just stupid little stuff, that's just easier, because my dealer's like 45 minutes away from me. So a lot of times it's just easier if I'm not in a rush to just order from them. But anyway, when I was looking on there, I did find the universal joints. I was always told that you couldn't replace the universal joints in them, but they are on there, so you can replace the universal joints in these drive shafts. So that's good to know. So I figure while these blades are off, these are the Versamo blades. This is, well, there's a washer in there, but these are the Versamo blades, and I did a full video on these. You do not sharpen these, okay? So these are not required to be sharpened, but once like one side starts to go dull, you can just unbolt it right here, take this side off, put it over on this side, put this one on that side, and then you have the fresh edge that doesn't cut anything. Like you can see, this is clean for me using it, and this side's still black because it doesn't get used. They only spin one way, obviously, but you can unbolt these and flip-flop them and get more use out of them. But anyway, these don't get sharpened, so those can go there. But these ones that were running on there with them when I was doing my cleanups, these things are insanely dull and rounded right over. So while we can't do anything else when we're waiting for parts, I might as well sharpen these up. Like, look at that. And it's rounded over. It's got little pieces missing out of it from vacuuming up sticks and everything else. So this one here, rounded right over. Like I could run my hand right down that, pressing down. It's dull. That's not going to do anything. And same thing with this one here. So let's use this new blade sharpener and put a new edge on these things so they're ready to go and I can put this back together. So those blades are nice and sharp and they're good to go for when I put them back on. I'll just flip them over and run them across the other side and just clean the burrs off the back edge of it, and they'll be good to go. I'm still getting used to doing the blades on the right hand side, because on the right hand side I got to kind of pull with my left, which is a little awkward. I'm right-handed, so it just makes it a little funnier, but a little more difficult to do, but still does a fantastic job, and it's far better than the way I used to do it. Okay, so it's a new day, and these parts finally came in. I wasn't gonna finish this video until the parts come in so I could do it all in one anyway. But I had a mishap with my computer to where I upgraded the hard drive to a solid state hard drive. I updated the RAM from 8 gig of RAM to 32 gig of RAM, and I updated the Adobe Premiere 2012 program I had to the Adobe Premiere 2020 program. Well, I started having all kinds of issues. They even set new seals, look at that. I started having all kinds of issues to where the program wouldn't work. It wouldn't let me do anything. I couldn't, the video kept buffering, everything. Now I know it's a laptop and you can only do so much with a laptop because I can't upgrade the CPU and I can't upgrade the graphics card, but it should easily handle the new program. Well, I did a lot of research and come to find out everybody that's bought the 2020 elements has been having nothing but problems with it, lagging, buffering, everything else. And Adobe even commented on the one forum that they know there's a bug and they haven't figured out yet how to fix it. So there's that new T-box. And anyway, they can't figure out how to fix it. So that is that's a big problem with that. So the 2012 program I'd gotten from a friend. He sent me a disc from Kansas, and when I put the 2020 program on, I deleted the 2012 program, so I didn't have them both on there. And it turns out now everybody on the forums was saying they just went back to their old program and everything works fine. So I called the guy that I got the 2012 program from, and he said, I use Premiere Pro now, I don't even use that, so I'll send it back to you again, you can have it. That's supposed to show up today. He second day aired it to me. Thank you so much to him. He didn't have to do that. I know it costs a lot more, but he did it anyway. So anyway, that'll be in today, and I'll be able to get these videos, this video and another one that I recorded yesterday that I can't do anything with because I had no software to edit it. We'll get everything done, but it has been a process. I also figured out that one of the main reasons I was having these problems with it lagging is I had switched all my cameras over to ultra high def. It was 4K at like 60 frames per second or something like that I was recording at. So that friend of mine that's sending me that disc, he said, yeah, all mine are set at 1080 with at 60 frames per second. So I was trying to record ultra high def on a laptop that just wasn't made for it. So that was another big problem I was having. But anyway, this is the new cast iron T-box, and we are going to get this installed. So here's the setup back in the vise, and as you guys know, I already sucked the fluid out of all 3 boxes. But just in case any little bit more comes out, there's a drain pan down there. But I think we should be good. There might be just a very little bit that comes out, but either way, it won't be all over my floor in case some comes out. So let's get this taken apart. Remember, these are all 7/16 bolts, and we're going to get them out of there, put the new gaskets on that they sent me. Let me show you something real quick. The old gaskets that you always use to put these together look like this. Thin little paper gaskets, not so great. These are what they switch to. These are the new style. They guarantee not to leak as long as you put them in correctly. And that's what I have in this side and that side over there. Actually, I have them in every single one of them from when I took this apart last time. I upgraded them all to these, so I didn't have any issues putting them back together. I wouldn't have any issues leaking. They're also a slight bit thicker, which seems to work out much better. So the guy that sent me this new cast iron T-box also sent me 2 of the newer ones, the upgraded style. So that's what will be going in there. Well, since I just did these, if you look at this here, that seal's in perfect shape. Not a scratch in it, not a tear, nothing. I'm just gonna use that same seal. I could take it off and redo it, but why? That thing's in perfect shape. Okay, so as you can see, there's a chunk of something on this seal right here. I don't know what it is. This seal's in really good shape too, but I'm taking this off here because I don't like it. I want them all to be the same. So I want it to be like this one, a solid seal to go on there. So I'm gonna take that one off and put one of the new ones on. Now what I was doing here, the reason I took this out of the vise is because I had to make sure that one's going horizontal and that one's going vertical. They gotta be different. They gotta be opposite of each other. I've showed this before in videos. That is very important. So I'm gonna get this bolted back together and I'll be right back with you. Now everything's bolted back together. Seals are all tight. Bolts are nice and snug in there. These are still, that one's horizontal, this one's vertical. Everything looks good there. Now all I'm waiting on is the new drive shaft, this piece right here, and then this piece comes off the actual PTO. So I'm waiting on that piece and that piece. I don't think, today's Saturday, I don't think these will be here until Monday. I'm not sure, but I can at least get this put back in the deck and bolted back down. Okay, I just thought about it real quick. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to fill this gearbox up with fluid before I put it back on. Because when this is on the machine, before I had the height kit put on here, it was easy to get to. You can unscrew that that plug and you can fill it. You can do whatever you need to do. But this whole bar here prevents that from happening. That's the one downfall about these height kits. You can't get to that one. So what I've always done in the past is I take the caps off both of these, I fill them both up, and it drains through. It goes so painstakingly slow that I just, you know, let it go. And I wait and I wait and I wait and I wait. So what I'm going to do to get ahead of the process is I'm going to fill this box up before I put it on there. And then once I get it on there, then I just have to take these two caps off. The problem is, with the millions of supplies I have up here, I have regular 80/90, which you can run in there. They recommend the high pressure 80/90. Like I told you, I'm not putting that Peerless stuff back in there. What I always ran before and never had a problem was this Lucas heavy duty oil stabilizer, just straight oil stabilizer. I've used it forever without issue in these things, so I'm going back to that. So that's what I'm going to fill this box up with. And then I only have like not even half a quart in here. So I have to go get more of that. So I'm going to fill this box up, and then I'm going to go get more, and I'll come back and I'll put this thing on there, and I will top these off, and that's going to be the end of this video. So a big thank you to you guys. Not that you would have even known or it would have made a difference anyway. You would have just figured, oh, he didn't upload in a couple days. But thanks for the patience, I guess, that I've had to drag this out. And I know this is going to be a long video. I'm going to try to piece it together the best I can. But just one more video of taking these things apart and putting them back together. I have so many videos on it. Anyone that's watched any of my videos should be able to do this in their sleep, even if they don't own a walker. But that's it, and now hopefully once I get this new drive shaft, both pieces of drive shaft on, this problem will be put to bed once and for all. So thank you as always for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the support, and stay tuned for the next video, which will be what I filmed yesterday. A lot of cutting, a lot of welding, a lot of modifying, so stay tuned for that one.